Hey everyone, this is a good decision for the folks, especially the guys and I guess girls out there in the oil patch. Headline from CBC, court issues injunction against random drug tests for Suncor employees. Judge says random testing would cause irreparable harm to employees. In light of the legalization of marijuana and how long marijuana stays in the system, and knowing a lot of people, the hard-working blue-collar folks that work in these oil service industries, this is great news for all of you, especially those that like to party on the weekends or have a good time on their days off, but are personally accountable and responsible during the times they are working. Random drug testing, well, I mean, it's like... it's collective punishment. It's preemptive punishments. It's taking everybody and throwing them into a mix with some kind of presumption of guilt, and hopefully you can find that some of them truly are guilt. It goes against anything that would even be remotely aligned with fundamental rights and presumptions of innocence. An Edmonton judge has ordered oil sands giant Suncor not to proceed with plans to start random drug tests of its employees. The union representing 3,000 of the company's workers, Unifor 707A, applied on November 30th for an injunction to halt the testing. Unifor's lawyer, John Carpenter, argued that random drug and alcohol tests violate privacy, dignity, and bodily integrity. In his ruling Thursday, Court of Queen's Bench Justice Paul Belzile agreed. Belzile issued an interim injunction to prevent random drug and alcohol tests until an appeal stemming from an arbitration between the union and Suncor can be decided. Ken Smith, president of Unifor 707A, said he's pleased with Thursday's decision. "We really do believe it was an infringement of workers' rights," he said. The battle over random tests started in 2012 when Unifor filed a grievance with the labor arbitration panel. The three-member panel allowed the grievance in a 2014 decision. Suncor successfully appealed that decision and a new arbitration was ordered. The union lost its appeal of that decision before the Alberta Court of Appeal on September 28, 2017. Unifor is now seeking leave to appeal to the Supreme Court of Canada. In Thursday's decision, Belzile said the parties agreed that Suncor's site is dangerous but agreed to virtually nothing else. He said he was presented with conflicting evidence on whether random tests make a workplace safer. He also said there was a substantial disagreement between the parties on whether drug use at the work site is increasing. Belzile wrote that the Supreme Court of Canada has already ruled that privacy rights of workers are as important as safety concerns. Employees who have no drug or alcohol problems and who have not been involved in workplace incidents would be impacted by random tests, he wrote. Belzile found that employees would suffer irreparable harm if random drug and alcohol tests are allowed to happen before a final decision is reached on the arbitration ruling. So like I say, this is a great decision. Now it is obviously going to have to go all the way up to the Supreme Court, but the good thing about that is if the Supreme Court errs and makes a judgment on the side of the employees, then that's not just precedent setting, that's the law of the land. That is the ultimate law of the land. So let's just hope that the Supreme Court errs on the side of freedom and liberty instead of infringement upon those, and gives these employees the right to not have to have these kind of drug tests and this kind of imposition put forth and present them when, like I say, because of the way drug stays in your system, especially drugs. Alcohol is one thing, although even alcohol, right? You should not even be able to use that unless, like I say, you should have reasonable suspicion. I mean, that's like kind of the foundation of common and natural law is reasonable suspicion. Without that, you know, if you lack any reasonable suspicion, then you should not be able to just go out and preemptively or randomly force people to have this imposed upon them. So let's hope that when this does go to the Supreme Court, that the folks in the Supreme Court err and side in favor of freedom and individual liberty and not these kind of preemptive or collective punishments. It's Canadian Libertarian. and I love liberty.